Louisiana All-American Sports Show. 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 Louisiana. If the sports you want to talk about, then listen to the hottest show that's coming out the South. It's Eric Hatfield and Coach Perry Daniels, man. They're gonna sit you down and tell you all about the game and make it plain. 96.9 FM, that's the station. To hear the best sports talk show in the nation. Without hesitation, you should get with this. You get your popcorn ready, boy, you better not miss. Louisiana All-American Sports Show. Louisiana All-American Sports Show. Louisiana All-American Sports Show. Louisiana. Joker B.
Just so fresh, so clean. Good morning, back.
I want to welcome y'all to the Louisiana All-American Sports Show.
Good morning, Baton Rouge. Got a little wires crossed there. Good morning, Baton Rouge. Today is Saturday, January 7th, 2017, and we are locked and loaded for the first edition of the year 2017 of the Louisiana All-American Sports Show. The sun is out and the birds are chirping, but the sun's not really doing its job the way it normally does this morning. This is Eric Hatfield.
And I'm Gerard Piper, a.k.a. Joker B.
Joker
and it's
Freeze.
cold today.
And I'm Coach Perry Daniels, and you say cold, man.
It's cold,
I don't understand. You know?
Where you at? Why don't you tell the people where you're at? Since we're in here freezing cold, explain to the people where you're at.
I'm about 2 feet from the Caribbean city, Belize. And guess what, guys? Last night, hanging out in the bar, I was talking to some Belizeans, some native folks from the area, and they were telling me about the Prime Minister, Dean Barrow. He was just reelected in 2012. And according to them, there's no way that he would have been reelected if the United States had not influenced the election.
Wow.
I'll tell you what, I am not surprised one iota by that. Saying that the United States wields its influence is like saying that days on the calendar end in Y. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, indeed. Hey, man, but I understand, man, it's 82 degrees down there, and you're out there by the water. You was there for the new year, and so you just sound like you got peace and everything. So tell me, I want to know about some of the artifacts you've seen, some of the places you've gone.
Oh, wow. That's a very good question, Joker, man. So we had an opportunity to go to the Alumni Republic, which is one of the most sacred ruins of the Mayans. And we traveled down the New River here that the British named it the New River. And its original name, I don't remember. When, colonization was thorough, man. And so when your conqueror comes in and he says, okay, I don't care what you used to call it, this is what we're going to call it now. So they now refer to it as the New River. And we actually passed by on our way to the Republic. We passed by a facility that was built by the McAfee developer, the guy, and Shauna and I, my daughter, Shauna, the S in ADTJNS, had an opportunity to go to San Pedro Island, which is the spot where the McAfee developer killed his neighbor and fled. But back to the Republic, man, we had an opportunity to climb these ancient temples and stand on top of them, and you could just feel the energy there, Joker, of the ancestors. And it was pretty remarkable what they had accomplished. And what they would do is they would build these temples. Every time a new king came in, they would build a new temple on top of the previous king's temple, as to show that, society was moving forward, getting stronger, getting bigger. And it's just an amazing thing. And hopefully we can encourage others to come visit this, and that's why I chose the song of.
Coach?
We can't just. Well, we just keep losing Coach, but I think he's saying his.
So we'll get to that a little later.
Coach, wait, you started to say song of the day, then we lost you until just a second ago. Say that again, please.
Can you hear me, Coach?
I think Coach is
too much sun.
Yeah.
You want me?
Okay, so Coach is sliding in and out, but I think he was saying the song of the day was influenced by his vacation choice. I'm so jealous right now. Belize, I've never been there, but I've read about Belize and heard stuff and seen their little advertising here in the United States. It looks like a place I want to take a vacation. So it looks like it'd be a great vacation, and even if you're a common working man, it looks like it won't break the bank. So that is a place I want to check out, and Coach has just encouraged that even further with me. So
told me last night that every $1 in the United States is $2 there. So, you get a chance to, I guess, more bang for your buck.
What Derek just said, Coach, is that you get more bang for your buck in Belize. He was saying, like, because of the relative strength of the American dollar. Are you finding that when you reach in your wallet?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's 2 for 1. And the minimum wage here is $1.50 US dollars per hour.
Oh my goodness,
man!
Wow,
$1.50.
Wow. Well, I might have to, that means I could open my own Subway in Belize or something like that. Shoot, I could buy a bus and make a fortune. Okay, wow.
Oh, hey, Eric, that's a good point. So Subway had to pull out. Subway had to pull out because the $5 footlong here was $15.
Woo!
Wow.
$15 footlong. You're not gonna have too many lines out the door.
It was $15. It was $15, but you was only paying what, $1.50?
$1.50. Yeah, that's. Ooh, they must be making that. They must be making that cheddar. Oh boy. So from the wonderful warm Caribbean, back to the frozen South. That doesn't even sound right, but back to the frozen South here in the United States.
Wow, that's crazy.
Last night we brought you our Louisiana All-American Sports Game of the Week. It was the McKinley Panthers. They went on the road to White Castle to face the White Castle Bulldogs. We brought you a couple of football games from out there, and that community always shows up. It's actually a really great experience, a real small-town feeling. I didn't get to experience the basketball side, but listening, I had other obligations that night, but listening to Derek and Joker call that game, it sounds like they showed up just as well for the hardwood, and they gave McKinley a fight that night. And since you guys called it, I won't steal your thunder. Go ahead. What'd y'all see what'd you see in the game?
Well, actually, it was a great game. They started out. White Castle has about 3 or 4 players at 6'6" on their team. Very, very athletic team. They had one guy came off the bench. He was 6'6", about 280.
I'm going to guess he's a tight end on the football team or something.
He had to be
That's an offensive lineman.
Offensive lineman, and he was tall and big. In the first quarter, White Castle came out, and they was very, very athletic, play with a lot of energy. They was playing in the 2-3 zone. They was packing the zone down, and so they was putting a lot of size on McKinley. McKinley was definitely oversized. They was able to get a 10-point lead, a double-digit lead in the first quarter. In the second quarter, McKinley's defense kind of kicked in a little bit. They didn't score a lot, but they was able to creep themselves back into the game. Hit a big three-pointer. Marcus Coleman did at the buzzer before halftime. Yes, he did. And he brought them within 1 point. So they went to halftime down 1. I was wondering what Coach Boudreaux was going to, how his team was going to react and how his team was going to come out in the second half. And in the second half, man, they changed their philosophy. They came with a different strategy, started to spread the ball a little bit, take their time, take Tyrese, put him at the top of the key and let him basically go off picks and playing a high-low game with the big men. And so they was able to kind of spread the big men out and started getting the loose balls, hitting timely outside shots. 3-pointers with Marcus Coleman, and that's what kind of opened the game up. Their defense, they started going to a full-court press, creating turnovers. And so, in other words, the big men and big athletic people for White Castle, got out-hustled in a sense. So speed counteracts size. And
especially on the hardwood.
Exactly. And once you started getting out in the open with the fast breaks, you start getting those turnovers. it started going in McKinley's favor, and White Castle could never adjust. And McKinley just pretty much spread the ball. I was real, perplexed about White Castle's coaching strategy in the second half. They never adjusted. They stayed with the same thing. Then they took a freshman, or I think it was a sophomore. He played on the JV team. They put him on Tyrese Radford, which is McKinley's best player, and Tyrese just like it was blood in the water. He just, as soon as he put him, he just went at him every single play, and was able to score and get 3-point plays. And White Castle coach never adjusted it. So that's basically what I seen in a nutshell. What'd you see, Derek?
Well, the size that allowed White Castle to build that lead basically cost them the game, because when McKinley started spreading the floor out and using their speed advantage, you took away the advantage that the size gave White Castle, because McKinley was in shock. They could not penetrate their defense at all in the first quarter and part of the second quarter. But then Coach Boudreaux, like you said, had his adjustments, and they started attacking. And then White Castle's Coach Green took his two big men out and left Carter. Now, Carter, even though he was big, he had some good feet, but he was never able to dominate the game like I think he wanted to, because McKinley started spreading them out. And like I call that lullaby offense that McKinley instituted in the second half, basically holding the ball and picking their moments, looking to attack like a snake, just waiting for the opportune time to attack that defense whenever the weakness was found. And like some of the White Castle fans said, they were not happy with the way the game went. They voiced their displeasure, but hey, we were glad that our McKinley Panthers were able to attack and come back and get that win. It was my first game calling, so I was excited already, but being able to see that comeback like that, it was an awesome sight, though, Mary.
I'm looking at the White Castle's record. Just looking at him, looks like they can beat the teams that don't have very strong programs, and that they're competitive against teams with competitive programs, but have probably lost a few more than they've won against what I call your competitive teams like your Dutch Towns, your A-Meets, teams like that. And, of course, McKinley got a 10-point victory against them. Three guys over 6'6", you'd expect teams like that to dominate. I mean, when you have that kind of height in high school. So you mentioned the coaching. Do you think the coaching was vanilla? Do you think the kids just don't get fundamentals? Or they're not something's missing here when you have that much height on a high school team and you're not kicking a lot more butt than they're kicking, as I'm looking at their record here.
Exactly, and that was the guys, the fans basically was telling us after the game. They were upset with their coach, just to be honest with you, and said he's been there for years, and they feel like they have talent, but they're not producing with the talent they got. And you can look at the coaching, and a lot of things he wasn't taking his team and being able to adjust. He was making the wrong type of adjustment. He was seeing something that didn't work, but he kept going with it. I hate to be critical of a coach because I'm not one, and so it was a strange kind of thing for me to hear, but I was hearing it from the people themselves after the game. Then we spoke at length about it, and they were just like not upset. I mean, they were just real upset at the coaching atmosphere there in White Castle. And I was like, man, you guys do have talent. And I told them that before I left.
Because I was afraid. I was thinking it was going to be a blowout.
Guys. One, that is a very strong program down there in White Castle, a traditionally strong program. Back when they used to be in the same district with Southern Lab, whoever won that district would generally win the state championship in Class Single A basketball. And they may even still be in the same district. I'm not exactly sure.
They're in 6-1A.
There is a constituency in White Castle that would like to see the Baker High head basketball coach, Coach Jamie Holmes, who grew up in White Castle, become the head basketball coach there in White Castle. So that's been going on for a couple of years now down there. So anytime they don't win, you're going to hear that constituency complain about the head basketball coach. Here's what I think the real story is, though. It's beautiful to see the McKinley High basketball team rally around their leader, Coach Harold Boudreaux, and it's just amazing what can be accomplished when you have a unified direction and a unified voice in leadership. And
We were losing Coach, and actually there was. Oh, go ahead, Coach.
Coach is a little
Okay,
choppy.
yeah, we're a little choppy, and there's a little wind blowing there too. I'm gonna go ahead, Coach. We got you again. Go ahead. Okay, so we're Coach is coming in and out, but
international
has said that, hey, this disputed league basketball team.
So what
Man,
Coach
Coach
is
is-
saying to tie his thought together, I think I picked up most of it. He's basically saying that when you have
Is Coach in the tie?
I know the
It
phone
seems like
going
he's,
to
out
phone
the
might have
water.
gone underwater. He
He's
didn't have that
coming
phone.
out the-
You know that commercial with Lil Wayne's like, man, I'm gonna put my phone with take a picture of the fish with the water. I don't think he has that phone. He's chopping in and out a little bit. No, he is overseas. So I mean, and they got mostly 2G down there. So please bear with us. We're just glad Coach can join us. But I'm gonna finish his help. I think I know his point, and I'm gonna try to finish it for him.
I'm disrupting the quality of the show.
Not only in that last segment. Sit tight with us, Coach. But I think where he was going with that is you got to have leadership at the top. And when you have a ship, you got a captain and a first mate and all the people in the deckhands. The captain ultimately's got to steer that ship. And if the first mate is saying, go, put the stuff over here starboard, and you go port side to use a little sea vernacular, you might we ought to be going port side, man. Forget him. Swap this deck over here. And I'm not saying that's necessarily what went on, but there needs to be one voice at the top, and there needs to be unification. And when you get the crew following that unified voice, you can often go a lot further than when you have maybe competing views from leadership. And that's not to say one's good, bad, or the other, but you can't steer in two directions. You can only steer one way, and hopefully you get to your destination, to use a lot of nautical terminology that has nothing to do with basketball.
That's what I was just sitting here like, I started thinking of Gilligan's Island for some reason. You know what I mean? Hey, but
That's
anyway.
exactly right, though, Eric.
Yeah, he is right. And Perry, you're right. Those guys have traditionally been winners. We've seen a lot of banners down there, and so that's basically what the public was talking about. But this is about McKinley being able to adjust, and Boudreaux coming out in the second half and taking that punch in the mouth and coming back in a tough game on the road. And they also hit their free throws. And so it was a big thing. I talked to him after the game. I should have brought the interview because it was a great interview, and he talked about what he told his team at halftime, and those guys came out motivated. So big ups to McKinley. They have they're going to be facing Southern Lab Kittens today at the Mini Dome, 5:00 p.m. The people that want to check that out. I'm going to try to be there to be able to broadcast game Louisiana, allamericansports.com. So I'll update you guys later. I'm pretty sure I'll be able to make it to that game. It's just real cold. It is cold.
And we also need to make sure that game's still being played. It should be.
It should be.
But yeah, we got to check on some of those. So keep checking Louisiana All-Americans. Check LouisianaAllAmericanSports.com around 5 o'clock. Check our Twitter at LAA Sports. How about that? All right. At LAA Sports. That's awesome. And check that out and see if we're going to be broadcasting the game today. So we got we got a good show to bring to you today. So Joker, our coach, one of y'all, I guess where we're going to steer this ship next.
Well, we're going to steer this ship next. I guess we want to go to the song of the day, Coach.
Let's do it, man. Let me introduce it first. Hey, here in the Caribbean, they have love for African Americans, as well as other folks from around the world, but especially African Americans, because they with your experience. So,
man, they don't love us that much. We keep coming in and out. Coach, you're coming in and out a little bit, and sometimes we have a little bit of a delay. But, hey, we got somebody that's from the islands, and I wanted y'all to listen to this song of the day. So check this out right here. And we'll come back with the rest of the commentary and rest of these sports. Playoffs! Playoffs? Yeah, we talking about the playoffs. But check this song of the day out. It's Stephen Marley featuring Shaggy. So strong.
Steve Marley. Yeah, man,
And that was Stephen Raga Marley featuring Shaggy with So Strong, man.
I like that. I like that island accent.
Blood clot.
A Shaggy. Woo.
Yeah, Shaggy.
So,
you remember Shaggy?
Oh yeah, I remember
yeah.
Shaggy, man. I like that dude.
It wasn't me.
Yeah. On the count. Okay, I'm not even gonna start. Won't start. It's a family show. It's a family show. Wasn't me. Are we on camera?
Wasn't me.
Okay, so woo. So look, so look, we were talking about the boys of high school basketball who are becoming young men, and we also have we have some of the grown or adults, I should say, on the gridiron. We had the college football semifinals last week in the Fiesta and the Peach Bowls, respectively. And interestingly, the game that had, I guess, more of a competitive element to it was the one I thought would be over by halftime. And it wasn't that competitive, but it was. Washington drew first blood. They had a 7-0 lead on Alabama, and that's more competitive than the other game between Ohio State and Clemson, in which I got on my soapbox and talked about how Ohio State looked unbeatable and they could not score a single point. So that is going to lead us to Monday's game against the national championship game, the Alabama Crimson Tide and the Clemson Tigers.
Rematch. Hey, I've been meditating on this game, man. You know, I've been going with I've been going with him all year, but I got to really think about this. Before I make a decision.
It's food for thought. It is food for thought. And then we also had bowl action last Saturday, not quite as important as the national semifinals. We had the last we'll see of our LSU Tigers in the Citrus Bowl. Again, I'll tell you, I'm glad. I told you so. I was at home last week, and so my recording means I had a problem with the cable, so it wasn't as high quality, and I didn't come to the studio and get the original audio. I'm glad I don't have it this week because I just swung and missed. I said LSU wasn't going to win. They had nothing to play for. They stomped Louisville. Hey. I mean, stomped Louisville in the Buffalo Wild Wings Citrus Bowl by the score of 20. I'm sorry, was it 39? What was the final score in that game? It was a butt kicking. It was like 38
to 9 or 37 to 9.
Yeah, so 30. So it was a thorough beating by 30 points.
It was a thumping.
Absolutely, and I'll tell you, I felt like I had a whole extra large plate of that spicy garlic with those 5 flames on it because I swung and missed so badly. I needed that much water doused on me. So LSU finished very strong. Darius Geis
I think that was the story. I was just going to ask you, did Darius Geis is making people forget about Fournette very quickly.
Mm-hmm. He's going to come in there, Joker, really as a Heisman front runner. When they mention those 4 or 5 names at the start of the year, Darius Geis is going to be one of those guys whose name you're going to hear as one of those Heisman hopefuls at the start of the year. And the way he's run the football this year, and even in the years where he wasn't getting the ball as much, as long as he stays healthy and continues the pattern that we've seen of running the ball very aggressively and ambitiously, I think there could be some very, very pleasant surprises. 29-9. Oh boy, went brain dead for a second. Final was 29-9 in that game.
He has surprised me. He has went beyond my expectations. Darius Geis. We've covered him in Catholic High and high school. Here at Louisiana American Sports, but Darius Geis is something special.
Keep in mind, look, we saw Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the Catholic McKinley game. We saw how he ran. Edwards-Helaire was his backup. Now, granted, he was a freshman at the time, so it's not a fair and not an even comparison. But no, Darius Geis is something else. I am surprised though because he's not as big as Leonard Fournette,
right?
But he seems to run. He moves that football as effectively as Fournette. He's very strong, and he has a lower center of gravity than Leonard Fournette, which might make him harder to tackle, particularly on the NFL level. So I think as far as the backfield is going to continue to be strong in Baton Rouge.
What I want to see is who's going to be.
Hey, Joker, you know what? Eric didn't want to show his pick from before, but it wasn't last week's show that we made his pick. It was the week before that.
Because I picked LSU. So I was going with my boys. You know what I mean? And he's a graduate. He was the one supposed to pick LSU. Didn't pick LSU and, said that they weren't going to win. And I thought LSU was going to come out and show a big statement because Louisville, to me, without, of course, Lamar Jackson, they've been beaten this year. Yeah, they've had a ton of points scored on them. A lot of times they won this year was by shootouts and by him just taking the game over or last-second drive, sort of like a football game, whoever has the last ball. So I knew that LSU's defense was going to be able to get to him and also be able to score points. And so, hey, just another one of Joker P's picks. But it's okay. It's all right. It's okay. We'll move on. It's 2017, so I'm definitely ready to move on.
So look, we have. Oh, I'm sorry, Derek and Perry. If y'all want, Derek, I know you had a comment on last week's game. Go ahead, man.
Well, Geis ran for 138 yards and a touchdown with a long of 70. But I know LSU always has a running back, but the position that they've been struggling at is quarterback. And with the new offensive coordinator, Canada from Pittsburgh, his job is going to be to get the quarterback that they have on the roster now and the quarterbacks coming in are ready to play next year.
Is kind of his reputation. He is an offensive fixer, especially in that, playing out there. That's a where the Pittsburgh Pirates, Panthers are. That's a conference sometimes where offense can defense can come at a premium, and you have to be able to put up numbers, and he's proven an ability to do that sometimes without even the strongest recruiting classes. So I'm looking forward to what Mr. Canada and his scheme can do down here at LSU. I think with what they have left at quarterback, as far as experience, I'm talking about Danny Etling, if he could just get this guy just to run the script, and I think he's capable of running a script. In other words, not necessarily being a playmaker, but not making mistakes. I get so tired of hearing the game manager moniker, but it really does fit in this case. If he can just get him to do that, 15 to 25, one touchdown, no picks, 189 yards a game, 220 yards, and keep those running backs running with that defense bottled. I've never seen Lamar Jackson look as handcuffed as he did in that game. They gave him nothing down the field, and they never let him get outside the pocket. The defense once again has shown what it's capable of. So you look at that, man. There definitely is a cause for optimism. It's just a very competitive Southeastern Conference. It's never easy for anybody.
Right. Jackson had 163 yards passing and only 33 yards rushing on 26 carries. So he was bottled up quite nicely.
Coach, did you have anything on the Citrus Bowl before we touch on on Monday's game? Coach? So the 2G internet might have be too gone. No,
it seems to be still here.
Still here. Well, I'll tell you what. Since we'll wait to get Coach back loud and clear. I guess why don't we talk about Monday's game tomorrow night? Boy, I am just not there today, man. Monday night's game, Alabama-Clemson national championship game. Look, Clemson is unfortunately going to be the biggest bridesmaid, man. They're going to be like the Fab Five in basketball, where they were a really good team, a team that in a number of years could have won a couple of national championships, but they happened to be in the wrong place. I'll give another analogy older football fans can relate to. Jim Mora's Saints in the late 80s, early 90s.
Playoffs.
12-3, 10-6, 10-6, 8-8, 9-7, 11-5, 12-4. One division title to show for it. No playoff wins because they happen to be in the division of probably arguably the greatest dynasty of all time with the 49ers. And the Alabama Crimson Tide right now are as good as they are historically. They're playing historically well the last 2 to 3 years. And I'll tell you, as good as Clemson looks, and they look great. And this is a team, this same team, you put them in a lot of different years, many different years, they'd easily win the national title. I don't think it's happening this year. I'm going to go with Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide, in spite of what Deshaun Watson has shown he could do against them. Although I will say, this Clemson team, just listening to them in the media day and stuff, they seem very focused. And they seem to be tuning out all the noise, like they have a mission. That's a reflection of the coach, Dabo Swinney. But I think Bama's going to be too much.
Go ahead, Eric.
Derek.
I already told you I'm picking Clemson Tigers. Not because I have hours at Clemson, but because I feel that Deshaun Watson has been the only quarterback to really give Alabama problems, aside from Bo Wallace and Chad Kelly, as hard as it's hurting you to play at Ole Miss. Also, Clemson is going to have two weapons that they did not have last year. Receiver Mike Williams and receiver Kane. They did not play in this game last year. So they're going to add some more receiving options to this Clemson offense than Alabama had to face last year. Alabama has a strong secondary, and also Clemson has a strong running game. So they have a good quarterback who can run, a strong running back, and 4 receivers who can beat you all over the field. And let's not forget the tight end. So Clemson is a team that is built to beat Alabama. In my experience, their defense can stop Alabama's offense. They have a top-notch defensive line. Hurts has not been the best passer. If they can stop him in the running game, Alabama will lose this game.
That was a whole lot of ifs and if they can and if.
I'm gonna pull a line from E40. E40 when he was with the Click. If it was a fifth, we could stay drunk all day. although I do think
you said a lot of ifs.
Yeah, if it was a fifth, we could stay anyway. But Joker.
Nick Saban, you the best. Nick Saban, I'm sorry. Okay, here we go. There you go, Eric. This is a tough pick for me.
I wish Nick Saban could hear that song. I wish he could hear y'all sing.
This is a tough pick for me. It's a repeat game. You're right in everything that you said, Derek. I don't disagree. Deshaun Watson is an awesome quarterback. He's the best quarterback that they will face this year. But I repeat, I cannot go against Nick Saban. So Joker P's pick for the 2016-17 National Championship game.
Nick Saban, you're the best.
Nick Saban, I'm sorry. It's Nick Saban. I'm going with Nick Saban in Alabama. And I wish Coach can hear us, but Coach said he can't hear us. He's all the way in Belize. Maybe he can feel me.
I got that audio.
Can he feel me? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. Hey, I got to go with Nick Saban because of the defense, man. You know, at the end of the day, that's just like Lamar Jackson. He's a dynamic quarterback, and what happened with him against a good defense like LSU?
Right. And Alabama's in the same, in my opinion, right there with it, if not a tick better.
Exactly. And when Nick Saban, prepares for a team, he's going to have a game plan for those guys that he named, Mike Williams and Deshaun Watson and these guys. And Nick Saban is just on another level. You can't go against this defense. Has scored, I want to say, 4 or 5 straight games with a defensive touchdown. That is unbelievable. It's like that's
unbelievable against an FCS team, let alone a Division I team or FBS team, let alone a playoff team, let alone an SEC team.
A defensive touchdown. So it's like he don't. What's his name? The quarterback.
Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts doesn't have to play the best game in order for Alabama to win. So it's not like all of the pressure is on him. So Nick Saban, the preparation, Nick Saban's been there. You can't go against Nick Saban, man. It's too much, the defense. So, hey, that's not going to be – I expect a close game. Last year, 45-40, I want to say.
That sounds about right.
So it's a lot of points. A lot of points scored. No one really predicted that. So this year, I don't suspect it to be that way. The Ohio State game against Clemson, actually, Clemson blew them out. But at the beginning of that game, Ohio State missed 2 field goals, so they were able to move the ball on Clemson. It's just that those 2 field goals, it just seemed to take the momentum away from Ohio State, and Clemson gained the momentum. And I've always said football is a game of momentum. And so, okay, the coach said he's calling up.
See, no, and I hear you. Ohio State's a team, really before that Clemson game, their defense was one of the biggest reasons, frankly, they were able to kind of crawl back into the national championship picture. And they just, that Ohio State game was funny, though, because it was actually Clemson's defense that stepped up. It wasn't like OSU failed to move the football. They just failed to score points. And so that also kind of gave me a little, kind of made me raise an eyebrow as to, hey, this Clemson team is capable. Derek look, they're in the national championship game for a reason, but we could be eating crow next week.
Coach,
and for all the reasons that Derek pointed out. But I'm kind of like Joker that get that Nick Saban meditation going. I once bitten, twice shy. I will not pick against Nick Saban again until he gives me cause to. So we're.
So you already got it. You hum.
Oh yeah. I'm picking Alabama. I think we got Coach back on, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see.
Coach, we got you.
Yes, I'm here.
Great.
Hey, well, man, great. You're perfect timing. Nick Saban, okay. Alabama versus Clemson. Your picks.
Well, the good thing is we clearly have the two best teams in the country playing against each other. The semifinal games showed that. I'm going to go with the revenge factor, with all the troubles that the state of South Carolina has had over the past year in race relations, over the past several years, but they've been highlighted over the past couple of years with police shootings and all. I'm going to go with Clemson to break through and win the national championship here.
Well, wow. So we got 2 for Clemson, 2 for Alabama.
2 for Alabama.
Oh, so hey, that's going to be fun.
It was a tough pick for me. It was a tough pick for me.
We shall see.
I thought about the revenge factor, and also I thought about, but I just can't do it. Just hum.
So look, going from fun and hum to you know, we're a community radio station. We not just talk about sports. We talk about issues that are affecting the community and our nation as a whole. And yesterday, boy, you know, we were talking in our production meeting about another issue that kind of fell within the theme of a lot of the other social topics we talked about with regard to social justice. That was before the incident yesterday, and we said, you know, the one thing about this issue, that the one we're not going to discuss, is that it kind of might sound like the same old thing over and over and over again. And in a way, we haven't talked about this as much on this show, but this theme is something that as a country we're dealing with over and over again. And Louisiana All-American Sports is going to weigh in on it a little more heavily today than in the past. Joker?
Well, I'll just play a clip and we'll go from there.
5 people were killed and at least 8 people wounded after a gunman began randomly shooting passengers at the Fort Lauderdale airport in a Delta Airlines baggage claim area that started shortly before 1 p.m. A witness told MSNBC News that a slender man in a blue Star Wars shirt began randomly firing at travelers and was able to reload his gun at least once during the shooting. A Broward County commissioner wrote on Facebook that the shooter had come to the airport on a Canadian flight, checked a gun, picked it up from baggage claim, and then opened fire after loading it in a bathroom. Another passenger, Jordan Upchurch, who arrived on a flight from New Orleans, said that he heard a shot after the original incident had calmed down, and that police officers said they were running to another terminal and was told to shelter in place. The FAA said in a statement all flights coming in or out of the airport have been grounded as of 3:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Thoughts and prayers right now are with those who are potentially affected, and certainly with the first responders in South Florida who right now are surely putting themselves in harm's way to try to protect innocent people.
That's the report.
So, you know, another mass shooting. This time, of all the places you'd expect to feel safe, where they search your earwax practically at the airport, you'd expect that's the one place you'd expect to be safe. But hey, this guy, you know, totes his gat, gets it in baggage claim, loads the clip, and the rest. Unfortunately, with I think it was 5 people dead is the last number I saw, 8 wounded. I hope that hasn't gone up any. But another tragedy, another mass shooting tragedy in America. This time at the airport of all places.
I did a little research on this guy, and I don't fly a whole lot, so I don't necessarily know about the check baggage. But apparently he had been acting erratically, and the FBI investigated him, turned him over to his, I guess, let the military evaluate him, and he was deemed to be fine. So there is some mental health issues that this young man had. His mother posted a picture of him holding his newborn child. So this young man is a father. So, you know, he had to have snapped to commit a crime like this, knowing that he had a young child needing him in his life. And for him to take lives while he could be nurturing a young life, it's just sad. And I'm a father myself, and I couldn't, no matter how mad I get, I couldn't fathom myself doing something like this that'll take me out of my child's life.
No, Derek, I didn't even think about that angle, and there's so many things that are tragic here, man. I mean, you have the recurring issues we're hearing again: a mass shooting, guy with a gun, mental health issues that were already screened in the past, and I don't know. We put a man on the moon. We got to find a way to do something about that because we're doing nothing at all right now. And you're right. This is a guy. This guy on paper. I mean, besides probably the post-traumatic stress, I know he served overseas. That's obviously there's some. I would be surprised if that did not factor into the wiring of his mind that led him to doing this. But this guy had a family. You know, he wiped out all these other people in an instant. Who knows? It could have been an instant of just something went wrong upstairs, and he thought he was back in the war. It's really hard. You don't know, but collectively we're doing nothing about this at all. Now, one observation I made, though, I made this observation yesterday. It's a miracle. Not too very often you hear about these mass shooters getting taken alive, and I was surprised this guy even lived to tell about it. And that's different because usually the guys get lit up. But that just so you said that, Derek, that just kind of I don't know touched a nerve with me right there.
And he's not black or white.
Yeah, guys, this issue is near and dear to me. I have my wife's flying out today. My daughter and I fly out tomorrow. How do you prevent this? The bag was checked through the appropriate channels. So there's really no way of preventing this. Eric, I think you hit the nail on the head. The PTSD. It not just for that post-traumatic stress disorder affects us all. And this young man, his family, that his life significantly changed after the United States invaded Iraq, and post-traumatic stress disorder. Think about just real quickly, the Chicago situation. We African Americans are watching these videos over and over and over again, and they go out and they do something that is ill-advised, that is wrong. Post-traumatic stress. We have to find a way to address these issues, and the first thing we need to do is be more pro-our behavior as a country.
That last part, please, because there was a slight blip, and I want to make sure the audience heard that. The last thing you said about behavior as a country, could you say that last part again, please? I think there is a conspiracy against Perry. Every time he says something profound on Skype,
all of a sudden
the internet.
Cut out.
Now, granted,
what's really going on?
It's 2G over there.
You don't blame that on Trump.
Hey, what I mean.
We'll get it in next week.
We'll get it in most definitely next week. This guy was, his name is Esteban Santiago. He's 26 years old. You guys talked about the mental health part of it, and I can get into the conspiracy part of it real good because I think, it's a lot of this stuff that just doesn't sound right to me. But I'll say this: you hit it right on the head when you talked about the post-traumatic stress disorder. If we can remember, Micah X, the guy that went and killed the people, the police officers in Dallas, he was a veteran, and he suffered from PTSD. The guy that came down here and shot the 3 police officers here in Baton Rouge was ex-military, and he suffered from PTSD.
It's a pattern.
I can go on and on. Yeah,
that was not the first
shooting
two.
on the Texas Army base. I can go on and on. The shooting in this is the second mass shooting in Florida. We had the 50 people got killed in Orlando in the club last year, and so you can go so many different directions.
That guy was suffering from PTSD, though, right?
Well, Perry said it. PTSD doesn't mean just because you went to the military. That doesn't mean PTSD. Just mean post-traumatic stress disorder. So it could be a person who's just grew up in a certain environment. It could be a person that has a certain background. And so, what is the way that we attack that? Go ahead, Perry.
No, you're exactly right. You're going down the avenue I was headed down. Yes, that's right.
And so, how do we look at these things, And on the other hand, some people, I think the media has a little bit to play in this too, because some people don't promote or they don't highlight the PTSD in some of these gunmen, but in some of the gunmen, they highlight it. They may say, oh, he has a problem, some type of mental problem, but the other guy is just a thug or he's just a bad guy.
Well,
in
especially
a sense.
the military people seem to get that PTSD. You say the benefit of the doubt loosely. They're going to spend a lot of time either behind bars or institutionalized for a very long time, but nonetheless get that PTSD benefit of the doubt in the press when they served in the military. But there are other stressors in life that can make you do things you would not ordinarily do.
I mean, it's a lot of red flags in this case. This guy went to the FBI and told them that he's hearing voices. Voices is telling him about look at videos for ISIS and all this type of stuff. So these were red flags. That just this guy has a security clearance. So this tragedy also not only PTSD, but it hits on a lot of other stuff. Gun control. It hits on Florida has a bill that was getting ready to be voted on to allow people to carry weapons into airports. And so now this tragedy happens right before that law was getting ready to be voted on. So I assure you now it's going to be voted down. Because no one is going to want to have people.
That's Florida, baby. Don't be surprised by anything.
You're right. Could be. They may look at it with, hey, everybody needs to have a gun in the airport to protect themselves. Then we'll just be shooting. It'll be shootings everywhere then. But I think this tragedy and this mass shooting goes to different directions. You talk about PTSD, the mental health part of it. You could talk about gun control, that part of it. You could talk about traveling and how he was able to. Go into and report himself into a mental place and not be followed or not be evaluated, but still allowed to have his gun. If this and that, we're talking about ISIS. Every time it seems to have some type of ISIS. Yeah, like the guy and his wife in California when they had the terrorists, they went back on their job and shot those people at work. And so, it's a lot going on with this that I can't quite put my finger on. I don't know the answer to it. But somebody needs to figure it out, or we need to have a sit down to be able to come to some type of conclusion.
Tell you what, Joker, the song.
Hey, Eric.
Yes, sir.
I've been contemplating.
We lost Perry again.
We can't fix broken record.
Perry's coming in and out pretty badly, and I think he had another profound point. He looked like he was, when
and
Perry's about to say something profound, right? You can kind of hear that tone to his voice.
He's almost there.
He's clipping in and out. Let me say this much.
Okay. I'm gonna try this again.
Go ahead.
We can't fix the broken record until we fix the broken video.
I like that. I see. I feel you, Coach. I feel you. And I'm going to tell you something. That kind of feeds into the little point I was going to make. We could have made that song of the day on the heels of this story, the Kool Moe Dee's The Wild Wild West, because that's what it's becoming with all these shits. It's becoming commonplace and regular, and we see it. And it's becoming like the Wild West. You just pull up, draw your guns, and start shooting, whenever you feel the urge. And until again, we put a man on the moon. We got to do – there has to be something that could be done to reverse that pattern and, as Perry just said – change the broken video or reduce the frequency of the broken video or do something to prevent it. We're doing nothing, and it just gets really frustrating, almost to the point where I always want to throw my hands up and say, I'll just pray for the best for myself and my family and hope I don't get hit. Because it seems like collectively, individuals are willing to do a lot, but collectively we're willing to do nothing. And collectively, I mean by pass laws and enforce laws.
Yeah, I also...
We're dealing with a very broken... And also, I guess you could say unethical.
I don't know where you're talking from, Derek, but you sound like you're talking from inside your shoebox right about now.
Oh, can you hear me better now?
Yes, sir. Uh-huh.
Yes, sir.
Okay. We're dealing with a broken society and also a very unethical society where individuals are not treated the same and equally. Of course, there are always going to be a separation of people because of free will and the things people decide to do in their lives. But when incidents happen, there are just punishments aren't the same. Opportunities aren't the same. It's a society of haves and have-nots. And you have individuals who are fed up with the status quo. I can't say that this young man that was fed up with the status quo or any other incidents that have happened are people who are fed up with the status quo, but there has to be something that has to be done to try, I guess you could say, level the playing field or try to protect citizens' rights, from incidents like this or from other incidents that occur where unethical behavior is not necessarily punished but kind of allowed to go on without being, I guess you could say, cornered per se.
Well, it's a lot that's going on. I think it's a lot that we have to talk about. We will get to those things, but we have a couple of more playoff games we want to get to, man. We want to thank you guys for joining in the discussion here about it. But, man, hey, I don't know the answer to it.
Me neither.
Yeah. But,
Me neither. We're doing nothing.
I think we're getting desensitized.
We are. We
keep saying the same thing, and then pretty soon you're like, hey, I don't care. So that's the problem with it. But hey, we got some football.
Yeah, we sure do. So let's put a little happy light on the end of this show. Speaking of the end of this show, in about 7 minutes we have coming up
Noel Jackson
with Music Satisfaction right here on 96.9 FM WHYRLP Baton Rouge Community Radio. So look, in the National Football League, we have 2 playoff games today, 2 tomorrow. The very first game, which will be played at 3:30 our time on ABC ESPN, the Oakland Raiders. They're back in the playoffs for the first time since 2002, since they got blown out in Super Bowl 37 by the Buccaneers a very long time ago. They're back in the playoffs. They were looking like they could have been one of the top teams in the AFC. Instead, they wind up being a wild card team because they lose their potential MVP candidate quarterback Derek Carr to a broken fibula at the end of the year. But they go to Houston that has quarterback problems of their own. They have Savage coming in, Brock Osweiler. Savage got hurt last week, so I believe Osweiler is going to be the starter. Osweiler has played very poorly this year, but not poorly enough to keep the Texans from winning enough games to get in the playoffs.
All that money.
Connor Cook was a very good quarterback at Michigan State. This is Michigan State. It's his first NFL start. Houston, since they've been the Texans, I don't think they've ever lost a playoff game at home. Maybe one. They might have lost to KC. I forget. They're very good at home in the postseason, no matter how inept they are at quarterback, which has been most of the times they made the playoffs. So
who are you going with?
You know what? I'm going to go with the Raiders, even though on paper suggests Houston. I just have a gut feeling about the Raiders. I can't explain it. I don't know what the odds are. I'd imagine Houston's favorite, but I just have this feeling, just this gut feeling. The Raiders.
The Raiders, man. I think I'm going to go with you, Eric. You convinced me. I think, of course, Oakland chances went pretty much down the hill once their quarterback, once he got hurt and everything. But opportunity for Connor Cook. Who knows? We've seen Dak Prescott. They definitely have a good defense. They have a good running game. They have a good offensive line like Dallas do. So I'm going to go with the Raiders in this game.
I'm going to go with the Raiders also.
Hey, man, that
I've labeled this game as the Buck Bowl, the backup QB Bowl, because even though Brock Osweiler started out as a starter, he's been playing like a backup. The Raiders are down to their third-string quarterback, but they have an awesome running game. So I want to pick the Raiders to win this game.
All right. Who you got, Coach? The Raiders and the Texans.
I'm going to go with...
Go ahead, Coach.
I'm sorry, Derek. I couldn't. You faded out on me. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Texans here, based on the home field advantage, based on not losing at home in the playoffs. And Joker, I can't believe you compared their quarterback to Dak Prescott.
Yeah, Dak Prescott is a little more seasoned and a little more seasoned.
I don't mean
opportunity.
I just meant opportunity to put in a big spot. And
they get the biggest in the playoffs,
behind a quarterback that just coming out of nowhere.
In the playoffs, on the road against the number one defense in the league, this could be legend if he plays well today.
Right.
We have Detroit and Seattle. Hey, look, Detroit has had the luck of the eye. They've had more lives than a cat. I know a lion is a very big cat. Very good quarterback, very average otherwise on offense. Good defense, not great against a Seattle team that finds ways to win at home in a place where they rarely lose at home. Give me the Seahawks.
Of course, no-brainer. Seahawks, nothing even to talk about.
Legion of Boom, Seahawks.
Coach?
It's unanimous. I'm going with the Seahawks as well.
Tomorrow, 12 o'clock noon on CBS. By the way, tonight's game is on NBC, 7 o'clock. Miami goes to Pittsburgh. Miami's going with Matt Moore. I would not take Matt Moore in a regular season game against a bad team. I'm certainly not going to take them at Heinz Field on the road. Give me the Steelers.
Well, I like to have an upset pick every week. This is going to be my upset pick. I know I'm going against the grain here. I know Pittsburgh has the offense. Pittsburgh is the division winner. I'm going to go with Miami for the upset of tomorrow. People underestimate Miami.
I'm going to go with the Steelers. I think it's going to be decided in the running game. Miami has a good young running back in Jay Ajayi, but Pittsburgh running back is a dominant force in the rushing game and out of the backfield. So Pittsburgh.
Coach. Pittsburgh
team in Miami earlier this season. It will not happen in Pittsburgh. The Steelers will win this game.
Coach has the Pittsburgh Steelers. Last game, the New York Giants, 11-5, wild card team because of the Cowboys. Green Bay, 10-6. They rallied, won their last 5 games of the year, like Aaron Rodgers said, RELAX. But they're going to be in the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field tomorrow, 3:40 on Fox. The noon game, by the way, I said is on CBS. Look, I just think this is one of those years where the Giants are going to go classic Giants. I just have that feeling. Eli's clicking. The defense has come back from the dead, even though there's no Jason Pierre-Paul.
Okay.
I just got this is another one of those feelings that might defy logic. I think the Giants go to Green Bay and win that game, and I'll tell you, I think they can go a lot further than just the wild card round. So give me Eli and the Giants. Good run by the Packers, but it stops here, I think.
That tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be, I got a feeling. But anyway, I'm going to go with Aaron Rodgers in this game. I understand what you're saying, but I just think Green Bay's offense, I think they're going to be too much at home. Green Bay Packers.
I'm also going to take the Packers. Even though Green Bay has had some issues at running back, they've now moved a wide receiver to running back, and he's dynamic in the rushing and passing game. I think that trip to that Odell Beckham receivers are going to have a hangover on them, so I'm going to pick Green Bay to stop the Giants.
Coach, 30 seconds.
Yeah. God, we got to get out of here.
Coach, who you got?
ABJ&F.
So we didn't get Coach's
Oh,
last.
I got the Packers.
Oh, Coach has
Got
the Packers. All right.
Okay, man. We want to thank you guys for tuning in to Louisiana All-American Sports Show. Like us on Facebook. Get ready for Noel Jackson Music Satisfaction here on 96.9 FM, WHYR, LP Baton Rouge Community Radio. Happy holidays, everybody. Happy New Year. Let's get it. Peace out.
Have a good afternoon.
You're listening to 96.9 WHYR LP FM Baton Rouge Community Radio.
Baton Rouge Community Radio is available online at WHYR.org.
Hey everybody, if you listen
Hail to the king and lots of love. May he protect us from the evil. Hail to the king, lots of love. May he protect us from evil.